if I want to swear, I jolly well shall. You know, this show is going to be NSFW, and thank you. And I think somebody called Brunhilde, or somebody in the comments said they really like my t-shirt. Okay, right, this t-shirt was created by Mark Manley for a forthcoming film called Foreplay, which can be found on Twitter. Right, and I'm going to move really on because Elisar is pushing me under the table. Who is this person to my right?
Oh, that's me. Hello.
It is you. Who are you?
I'm Luke Spillane, and I am a Doctor Who fanatic.
Okay, the first step in admitting that you have a problem.
Yeah, I've done it.
Facing it.
Yeah.
And some people who've been on the BBC YouTube channel might recognise you.
Yes, I was on the BBC Doctor Who YouTube channel recently because I got sent the Fourth Doctor time capsule that's just come out. I got sent that, and I also have my own YouTube channel which is called The Beginner's Guide to Doctor Who.
Plug it.
And that's youtube.com/Luke Spillane. And that is all about the history of Doctor Who, and I've just started vlogging about the history of Doctor Who right from the very beginning, so it's going to take a while, but I've just started.
And how much do you remember of the beginning?
Well, obviously I wasn't
You
there
were
at
a
the beginning,
zygote.
but I was...
You're a zygote during Eccleston.
No, well, I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 4 years old, so that was like 23 episodes, about 1994.
So you were introduced to it?
No, I
parents,
wasn't. I actually, no one in my family. I found a VHS of The Keeper of Traken.
Oh really? That was your first
local
experience?
Library, yeah, and I watched that. It's still to this day one of my favourites, because I love it.
Well, your first is always your best.
Yeah, exactly. So, so
you never forget your first.
Yeah. So a lot of my family were a bit weirded out by me watching Doctor Who at a very young age when no other kid in the playground was watching it.
You gave yourself to the Keeper of Traken, and now he never calls.
But so that's my introduction to it. So I wasn't.
So did you start going collecting VHS tapes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've had tons of them. I've still got them. No idea what to do with all these VHS. Nobody wants them. I've got all the DVDs now.
Build a house with them.
Yes, I used to build a TARDIS with them, but yeah, so it was that was my introduction to Doctor Who. But I still have all these VHSs. No idea what to do with them.
I donated mine to 8-year-old nephew who loves it. Because he'd been watching obviously since the new series.
Yeah.
And then when I started replacing my VHS with DVDs, I gave him VHSs. And he just loved it. And he actually preferred the old ones now.
Oh, that's
to
good.
the
I
new
love
ones.
that when that happens.
I'm done.
And when I asked
talk
him,
about that later.
Would there be one baddie that you would return? Guess who he picked?
What?
The Rutan from
That's brilliant.
from Baker Street.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, they could bring them back.
They could bring back
Yeah,
Rutan.
that would be great.
10 years old and he's a big fan of Rutan.
Okay, he's part of the Rutan clan.
The Rutan clan.
Okay, right. Because we are running really late today, I'm gonna have to. We've got somebody to blame, haven't we?
Jinx.
Well, no, not you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you.
Okay, we have to put an apology out. Barry, I'm so sorry. We're all gonna have a moment's silence for Barry's clip, which was 12 minutes long and 1080, so when we tried to transfer it, the whole thing crashed.
The whole thing crashed.
Thank you, Barry. It's all your fault.
And caused a whole bunch of
How do you
problems.
sleep at night, Barry? How? Anyway, so yes. So what we're going to talk about, we're going to start with, what do you think? Let us know. We're on here. We want to know your reactions to the 12th Doctor. Did you think, are you happy? Did you think he was ugly? I'm done. Sorry, if you are the person who's actually responsible for that clip, I actually, I completely understand where you're coming from. A lot of people watch Matt Smith because, they fancied him and he's old and ugly. So, what are your thoughts? Let us know. We're gonna stick the comments on now. You know what? I'm gonna
They're not updating.
They're not updating
All right,
here, but
yeah.
luckily
Does your app update?
my app. It's actually just sort of YouTube. So we're going to go and use, modern technology, 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. They never had this problem in Doctor Who. Actually, they did, because I remember that episode when they were going to attack the Cybermen and the valves broke. Do you remember that? No, that's just me, because I'm old. Right, I'm looking at Facebook rather than YouTube. Right, hang on a second.
Jenny Bluebox99 is asking, do we need a new flux capacitor?
Darling, we need everything.
Helmet regulator, all of it. We need it all.
right now we're being powered by a massive treadmill just off camera, run by, crippled orphans and their pets. So, we like to do everything here. Okay, so...
People having trouble, well, Jenny says she's having trouble writing comments on the YouTube channel.
Okay. This is, hello Molly was the one, Molly, if you're still there, Molly was the one who liked the t-shirt. Now, you can tweet MJManley71 or something to try and get him to make these t-shirts and mass produce them. I wanted Luke to wear it, but no. He saw that thing on Channel 4 the other day about sort of, fake fans and buying social media, and he's wise to it now. So it's me, I have to shamelessly say, I was paid £600 for wearing this lovely t-shirt. Have we crashed? I think we've crashed. Oh, good heavens to Betsy. You know what? I'm going to cry. Hang on a second.
You can blame it on me. I can blame myself as a jinx.
Cameron's come back. Maybe it's slowly coming back.
That was ages ago. Okay, right, I'm going to still keep going. You know what? Because we don't know what's happening tonight.
It still says the stream is good.
Okay, well, the stream is good, so you know what? I'm just going to start talking. You know what? I can't see your comments, so I'm guessing right now.
But you can tweet, if you tweet at Talking Who, we'll get the comments on the Twitter feed, and that's probably the best.
You know what? Live TV, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
Well, I just think, obviously, Geek Week is so popular, everyone's on YouTube, and it's just crashed us.
Overload.
It's overloaded.
It's you get Luke Spillane or whatever his name is on here, and he brings all the fangirls with him. His milkshakes bring all the girls to the yard, and they're like, it's better.
Okay, well, first comment on Twitter is from Jenny Bluebox99, who says, I like the idea of an older Doctor and think he will bring a darker side and more Tom Baker-ish. It will change the direction.
I think that's what the show needs. I think it needs a bit of, because as great as Tennant and Matt have been with this sort of madcap energy, I think it kind of needs, Eccleston had it, that sort of older, but a lot of his Doctor was written I felt like it was written like he was very young still and running around. I think Capaldi might sort of mellow the Doctor a bit more.
Could this be signs of what the ending for the 11th Doctor might be, going into the anniversary story with John Hurt and the mystery of John Hurt's Doctor, and obviously all the other names that Richard E. Grant's character mentioned, sort of this darker Doctor. Do you think that somehow this is the direction for maybe Peter Capaldi is almost like a stopgap Doctor? Maybe he's not there for the next 3 or 4 years. Maybe it's a more Christopher Eccleston. Actually, there's a particular storyline they have where they need, there's a darker Doctor.
Maybe it is about time. Maybe they will. Maybe they narratively will actually go right. The Doctor's going to get darker or more mellow now, and maybe they'll do that. But either way, I'm so excited about Capaldi. I think he's going to be so good.
Is there anybody out there who's actually disappointed?
I don't think there is. I think it's been so great. All the response has just been Doctor Who fandom's just yes, Capaldi, great. I think occasionally there's a lot of sort of younger people who are a lot sort of I wanted Ben Whishaw or sort of more.
I wanted somebody I could touch myself. Sorry, I'm really glad the sound. I'm kind of hoping sound's still out, and you didn't hear that. Did warn you. I have a little bit of a mouth on me. He knew that he took the risk. Some people might not be able to hear it. There may be a hissing sound. We are trying to do our best. We do have our technocrats nervously fiddling in the background. This is my technocrats.
I think we're going to avoid playing any other kind of media, I think, on this particular week, just to keep it. Make sure that it's actually going to work, because I think
we're knackered. We're absolutely, knackered. Now, somebody's raised a great comment. By the way, 19 Sci-Fi 73, who is
a regular.
He's a regular, and he's also on Net, because you've been commenting every 2 seconds. Are you tweets? If you had an your teeth will fall out, and you look like those faces of Net poster. It's not right. Anyway, he's just sort of. I've lost him now. I've lost it. You've done so many. You've disappeared off my stream. You raised a really good thing. You know what? Yes, and Post Ghost 69, because there were 68 other Post Ghosts before him, said could be a good Doctor, but the BBC programme introducing him was lame.
It was a bit crazy.
Crazy.
I think. Do you know what? I think it was really.
Well, was it even necessary? That's the thing. I mean, they had a pre-recorded show before for Matt Smith.
For Matt Smith,
it was
which
Doctor
was
Who
great.
Confidential
Yeah,
special.
it was great.
But the whole idea of a live event and has to be shown live all around the world at the same time.
I think whilst it is ridiculous, there was a part of me that was like,
You were excited.
I mean, obviously excited, but like was like, this is great because like 10 years ago, like this just would never dreamed anything. Like BBC One just dropped everything to go and to reveal who the new Doctor is. They've got Zoe Ball in, and I thought it was a big circus, but it was fun and exciting.
It was 27 minutes of filler.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Rufus Hound? You know.
Wasn't it a
But you know what? He got stuff wrong. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh, poor guy.
And he hanged his head in shame.
Yeah.
But I mean, shouldn't have Stephen Moffat have been in the studio rather than a pre-recorded?
I think he was sat at the front, but I didn't think he. I don't know whether if because they all had the pre-recorded bits and whether they want to watch what they're saying. Because I suppose when you're in that environment, you might sort of give a bit more hints as they might you, but you can edit something down and perfect that.
It was great to see Bonnie Langford, I have to say.
Oh, that montage was fantastic.
Yes.
I did actually enjoy that. Whilst it was filler, I thought it was really nice seeing like Mel chatting
And the intro video I actually thought was better than this one than the BAFTA one.
This is true.
Yeah, the whole flashback. Yeah, I thought that was really good. It was really good.
Yeah, no, and
It was
it's
nice
good
just seeing that.
I guess now, because you've always kind of felt during Eccleston and Tennant, is that the older series, there was tenuous and it was like, let's try and forget about it. And it sort of came back with Matt, but this year's been a real celebration of everything Doctor Who, all the Doctors, and it's sort of really cementing that it is the same character, it's the same series.
Yeah.
It isn't just even calling it classic, it's all Doctor Who, whether you call it classic Who or new Who, it's all Doctor Who.
Yeah, and it's nice that it was celebrated. It was nice to see just like classic older Doctor Who on BBC One at that time. It's like just seeing that was like, good.
And then Peter Capaldi comes out holding his lapels like Hartnell.
He knew what he was doing.
He
knew what he was doing. Totally knew what he was doing. Nodding to the fans, I think, going, "Don't worry, guys, I've got this.
I've got this." I'm sort of,
I've got this.
I'm in charge. I'm taking over.
Yeah.
That was great. People are still saying that the sound's gone. That we're still trying, but some people are saying it's fine. You know, so I can't work out. You know what?
Some people can hear us and some people can't. Is that the answer?
That is what I'm assuming. You know, if you have a hearing aid,
do actually write, if you can, write in the comments what you can hear. Can you hear all of us? Can you only hear one of us?
He's got a very deep voice. You know, I have to smoke 40 Marlboros a day before I can get that deep.
Do you need us all to lean in closer to the microphone? Apologies, that's the underlying sound is actually the sound of my extremely noisy laptop.
It is. Look, nothing's happening. Look.
This one's not working for some reason. We've got it plugged in. It's just not happening.
It's rubbish.
But
the trouble is, we can't unplug it because
it's a risk.
It's a risk. It's a risk that we're not taking.
So, any more comments for Peter Capaldi? Well, we have one from Les Moyes on Twitter here, who says, "Honestly, I can't think of anyone better than Peter. He is quite youthful as well, in my honest opinion."
I think he is. I think he's quite energetic, and everything you watch him, he's great, and he'll capture the character fantastically.
Do you think they will have a male companion to join the team?
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? A nice
for
different dynamic.
for the younger females who are wanting their bit of Commander Riker sort of thing.
Yeah, it might be nice to have a sort of that dynamic that we didn't see so long until it had Amy and Rory come along. That was nice. So maybe a 3-team. Remember, team might be good again back in the TARDIS, but.
And of course,
could he be human? We don't like Turlos. It's got to be Jamie, not Turlos.
And of course, Clara's story has done. She's just from this point on, hopefully, just going to be a regular companion.
Yeah.
As opposed to the mystery of Clara. We don't know.
Oh, thank God, that particular story. They flog her to like with an inch.
I think it'll be it'll be huge in the 50s, won't it? I think, and then it'll wrap up now in the 50s.
Yeah, please God.
Okay.
I really cannot wait.
Robert Thomas is saying we're all a bit muffled, but it's not too bad.
That's good.
Okay, we promised get some earphones and stick them in. We promise not to make any loud noises and blow your sort of speakers. So we promise to do that.
I wonder if Clara, because Clara's split across all the doctors and she's seen them, I wonder if she's already met Capaldi.
Right.
I wonder how if they'll play anything on that, because presumably she's going to be the companion, unless they've got something up their sleeve. She's going to be the companion
For
as
the
it
next
passes
series,
over.
yeah.
So I wonder if there is anything there now, even though obviously she's not got all these memories of all these doctors, it's different Claras, but I wonder.
Let's ask her. Clara, what do you think? Well, I don't know really. I was sort of talking like this and sort of, I was doing that, and I said, I don't know where I am. I'm sorry, but I did love you as souffle girl, Clara. Very, very good. Okay, we are going to talk about a bit of news. We've got something else newsworthy to talk about, apart from Peter Capaldi. What could it be? Elisar.
Oh, well, since you asked,
I did.
some of you may know I've launched a Indiegogo campaign for a documentary that we're currently in production with.
And we helped. That's an American reference that sail over everybody else's heads. But you know what? Let's just say that rather like the BBC, Talking Who caters to the American audience. Anyway, back to Elisar.
And so the documentary is called Who's Changing? An Adventure in Time with Fans. And it's a feature-length documentary, and it's going to be about Doctor Who fans, but specifically about how fandom for the show has changed since the show came back in 2005. So we're examining that, where we've interviewed fans, lots of cosplayers, but also people behind the scenes and in front of the camera of Doctor Who, many of which were also fans growing up, like Simon Fisher-Becker, Neve McIntosh, Louise Jameson. They all watched Doctor Who as kids, and so for them to actually work on it was all it was all like, oh wow, this is finally work. Much like Peter Capaldi, he's a fan who's obviously finally got to. For him, I guess the answer was always going to be yes if the BBC ever would call, because he's like, when you're such a fan of something, you want to be involved. I'd say yes if they said, do you want to come and work for a week just making tea? You just would.
Course, there's a big thing of that going on at the moment now, isn't there? Because there's a lot of people who have grown up with the show and are now in the industry, like Russell and Steve, and like the people who love the show are making the show now, which is the best thing.
And
that's a two-way street, though, because you know what? I'm not going into this conversation. I'm just rewinding 2 minutes. Let's just say finish, and then just leave it there. No, we love them really. We've just lost a sponsor. Sorry.
It'll be interesting to see, if in 10, 15 years' time, if the show's still running, the young fans now, will be.
They'll be viciously guarding it against sort of tweens.
Working on the show, or working in some capacity within the media. Because, it's not just working on the shows. There's lots of people who work in films, television, business, because they wanted to get into business because of the love of watching Doctor Who.
Tennant always said that I feel the same way. I went into acting, so I wanted to still play a villain or companion. It started so many people up in that industry, didn't it? Whether a friend of mine wanted to design Doctor Who VHS covers. Now he's a graphic designer. That's genuinely how, and it does it to so many people.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting. It's so good. It's a good thing.
Cool. So it's. I think it's going to be a great documentary. I think some of the interviews that we've recorded so far are just brilliant. And so the Indiegogo campaign is just to raise further funds so that we can actually finish it, do a bit more recording, and get it released. And we're going to release it completely independently. So we just need people's help. So if you can go to indiegogo.com/who's changing and have a look. There's lots of perks, including getting a copy of the DVD. I think it's going to be great, and we'll continue to film it, and hopefully just before the 50th anniversary we'll actually release it.
I've just been told that we're sort of, we've been admonished, that word, we've been told off for getting our phones out because we're making a buzzing. The buzzing you can actually hear is coming from the laptop.
Yeah.
We're actually getting our phones out because the laptop is so knackered. We're actually having to read your tweet, your actual comments live on our phones because they're not streaming through. So you know what? I'm really, really sorry. Really sorry. Now, we've talked about the documentary. We're going to talk today about somebody who one of the viewers described me as looking like Sylvester McCoy. Okay, right, now, Luke admitted something before he started, and I cheered. What did you admit?
I said the Doctor's one of my favourite Doctors. I think he's great.
Thank you. I also am unashamed to say that I love Sylvester McCoy.
So let's have your comments now on Twitter at Talking Who for the 7th Doctor. Let us know what your favourite stories are. Favourite companions? Well, there's only 2 to choose from.
So it's not that hard. You know, we can talk about Big Finish and other stuff.
Sure, yeah.
He didn't get much of a go.
He got a nice tenure, didn't he? It was 2, 3.
Well, he's technically the longest running Doctor.
Yeah, of course.
If you
yeah.
count that
Because
part,
he's 1987 to 1996.
Yeah. Oh God, you were one of the people who complained when that question was
I
on
didn't,
£1 million
no.
drop, didn't
But
you?
They won. They argued their case and they won. So.
About McCoy
But
lasting till...
because the official answer on £1 million drop, I think, had been Tom Baker.
I remember that. Yeah, of course.
And then they said, well, no, because it's Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, and then McGann was technically 9 years then, wasn't he? So he was 96 to 2005.
Well, no, because we didn't see him again.
Right.
The whole thing about McCoy is we saw McCoy come back.
Of course, yeah.
Was in '96. So
Yeah.
he was the same.
Yeah. The moral of that particular story, Channel 4, is don't mess with Doctor Who fans. We're not a pleasant bunch. Well, we know that anyway, but sort of, we're not a pleasant bunch for sort of thing. Okay, just a few things. Kai, or Kaya, lovely name, for both male and female. I don't know what you are. Peter Capaldi is a fantastic choice. I jumped up and down in little circles when I heard the news. Luckily, I was alone. That's what Kai says. How do you jump up and down in little circles? Is that like Brownian motion? Like heat in a cup of tea. Okay. Doctor Who is rubbish with the new director, says gaming and humour.
Director.
With the new director. Oh dear.
Okay.
There are several directors.
Yeah.
I think you mean the current producer, maybe Stephen Moffat. I don't know.
Just quickly as well, now that we've gone from a 26-year-old to a 55-year-old, is anybody thinking that maybe Moffat thought he made a mistake by having somebody sexy?
I don't know. I
go from one extreme.
I think
to
he
another?
probably always wanted an older Doctor, but I think it's just that Matt Smith blew him away.
Yeah, he said that in the interviews. He said I was looking for an older Doctor for Smith, and they said Smith was the first person I think to come in, and they just went, yeah, that's the Doctor. He left, and it was Piers, wasn't it, and Beth, and they said he was the Doctor, and so I can't argue for that.
You would have just hated now being one of those older actors.
Yeah, I know.
Just waiting in the audition.
That comes out of the room and
it's
says,
over.
I think it went well.
You've
got John Hurt, Peter Capaldi all outside going, it's going to be me.
Ben Daniels.
Yeah.
But
he hasn't even hit puberty.
What's really interesting, because our last show, we showed a list of the current favourites on the bookies, and Peter Capaldi wasn't even on the list.
Well, he wasn't until the last week. He didn't come into it until the last week.
But in the last week, he was the worst kept secret in showbiz.
He was cast, wasn't he? Yeah.
So the 10 people, and they keep saying in the news, it's just obviously a complete lie, because there was people obviously making bets, because I think the bookies now are actually asking about insider knowledge, because
well, that's what they did with Matt Smith as well. That suddenly from this town that allegedly, I'd like to admit that sort of all this betting came on when Matt Smith had, a couple of days before the announcement, suddenly everybody from this town, his town, suddenly put a huge amount of, and walked off with hundreds of thousands because he was like complete unknown with like massive odds against him.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, I found out on Friday, and I'm not going to reveal my source, that I did.
Did you make a bet?
I didn't, because apparently on Saturday morning they closed it. They stopped taking bets on him, so I could have made a bit of money, but you know what? I didn't. And you know what? There's a round of applause happening in that just came from the next room.
Well done, Darren.
Yeah, honesty is the best policy.
So anyway, back onto the subject of the 7th Doctor. So Blue Box 99 has tweeted us saying Paradise Towers is one of my favourite stories, even though it wasn't that popular.
Paradise Towers is brilliant. Like, it's so underappreciated. It's so clever. It's so good.
I like you. I like
Well,
it.
see,
I actually feel like Paradise Towers, even though that first series was it was very Colin Baker and feel that first 7th Doctor series, I feel like if they made it a little bit later on, it would have been a lot darker and a lot more sinister. I feel like it needed that. That's the only thing.
Well, and one of the things that I guess defines the McCoy era is almost this dark surrealness of a lot of the stories. You know, Happiness Patrol as well. That's sort of really bizarre worlds that they travel to, and things that are not quite right, or you know, things under the surface.
Can I get an amen on the Happiness Patrol? You know what? Everybody hated it. I loved it. Fifi, I loved Candyman, Fondue. What's it? Strawberry Fondue Surprise, Spreeze. You know, all these things. You know what? And you know, 20 years later, when it's well, actually, it was about Thatcher. It's like, well, you couldn't work that out straight away. You know, it was like, you know, typically you should read, you know, Google it. You know, people out there Google Daily Mail, Happiness Patrol, Thatcher, and watch the story come, and just read the comments of people going, "Are you thick?" You know, that was one of my favorites. And you know what? I loved Candyman because he annoyed everyone.
Robert Thomas says, Ray Peter Capaldi, I like the fact Moffat is keeping up the tradition of Scottish doctors that have appeared in Rhapsody Nesbitt.
Yeah, but in drag, you know, David was in drag. Has Peter ever appeared in drag? The next person who gets me a picture of Peter Capaldi in drag doesn't have to be published, it can be from your own personal collection. Wins this t-shirt. Sorry, Craig, I'm giving your t-shirt away to anyone who gets me a picture of Peter Capaldi in drag. You know, right.
So, okay, let's have a look at that first season of McCoy's then.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was asking for a prop then. I'm sorry.
I mean, Mel was universally unpopular amongst a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Probably because as an actress, as a celebrity, she was quite well known at the time. I mean, probably more famous than Sylvester McCoy was to the general audience.
Yeah.
But I suppose her celebrity wasn't as an actress, it was as a dancer and as a TV personality, not as an actor.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that, but we also have to talk about where Sylvester McCoy came from. And I remember Sylvester McCoy's announcement being on Blue Peter.
Yeah.
You know, no, this was not a 30-minute live special. It was live.
Was very bold.
Yeah, you know, this guy who used to be on Jigsaw with Nosy Bonk steps out of the TARDIS and almost trips up. And that was our introduction to Sylvester McCoy. It was Blue Peter.
Live,
absolutely. But you know, who'd have thought that sort of 25 years later the BBC got Razzle Dazzle and Zoe. But that was it, and I knew him as somebody from Jigsaw, and so it was, and I liked him on Jigsaw, so I liked him on Doctor Who. Yeah, I mean, I'd gone off during Colin Baker because I thought he was a pompous, know-it-all. Yeah, and then here was this funny character. But maybe his introduction was a bit too slapstick, and that's what put a bunch of people off.
Well, yeah.
Well, that first episode.
Time of the Rani, it's very sort of. I still feel. I mean, like a lot of the Doctor stories, I suppose, do, but I kind of in the wrong. It feels almost not intentionally. It feels like it's written for Colin Baker.
Yeah.
A lot of that first series does. It just feels like that's a Colin Baker series that never happened. They just pop Sylvester McCoy in there. That's kind of the only thing that for me takes that first series down. And visually as well, it's very bright and it's very Colin Baker, I think. But
it's like a game of Tetris where it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, you've got all these colours and they don't quite fit. Yeah, but you've got Paradise Towers and Delta and the Bannerman's great. I really enjoy that. What's the first series?
Come on, Elisar, we're looking at you.
Well, no, then it's Dragonfly. I mean, there's only 4 stories.
And then Dragonfly, that's the only thing I can think of. Dragonfly, less so.
Well, it has the melting face.
Yeah, it has some great moments in it.
The little blonde girl who makes friends.
Well, Dragonfly I never felt really actually made any sense.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite gel together as a story. But there were some great sets. You know, the Ice Planet was wonderful, of course. And you had a semi-regular character, I guess,
Glitz,
in Glitz, who comes back.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm reading a comment. While I'm looking at the phone, I'm reading comments. Capaldi was in drag in Prime Suspect, says Ben Rogers. Ben, you've won the t-shirt. You know, don't wash it on anything over 30 because it'll shrink, you know. Again. This is not my t-shirt. Okay, right. Promises I make may not be honoured. I'd just like to say that right now, otherwise, you know, I'm going to have to go, right, I'll do one with an iron-on transfer myself. There you go, Ben Rogers, congratulations, you've won the t-shirt. I'm not paying for your shipping. You can come round down to Fleet Street and I'll chuck it out of the window at you. But then we go for the second series.
Well, I mean, that's what, obviously Dragonfire introduces Ace, and what's quite interesting, of course, is that, you know, they're thinking Mel's actually going to continue. And then they realise they're going to change the companion, and it's really only during the making of Dragonfire that they pick Ace. Yeah. Because she hasn't. Yeah. When she joins Dragonfire as an actor, she's only contracted for those 4 episodes. And then gets asked, "Well, do you want to carry on?"
Go on then.
Maybe.
Go on.
Yeah. Well, because also in Delta there was who was the girl in Delta?
Well, the girl in Delta was a potential companion as well.
She was great and sort of similar to Ace, but when Ace comes in Dragonfire, I think it all just picks up a bit more.
It's because it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting because nowadays it's like, you know, these big announcement things. But there they are deciding there on the set.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Spin the box.
We'll have her as the new assistant. Yeah. And what a great idea, because then you know suddenly you've got that younger. I suppose as the character is really a teenager, and probably so that technically the youngest companion since, you know, the Adric, Nissa characters are also supposed to be quite young as well. Adric even more so. And she has a mystery, but it's not one that's going to take over the story. It's just like, well,
unraveling in the background.
Why is this girl from 1986 Earth on another planet?
Totally.
It's not, they didn't stretch it out for an entire series, did they?
And that's totally, it's like really, like, because I don't feel like that had been done before. I mean, Turlo had a bit of a thing back then, but like there was a proper backstory to Ace that was slowly unraveling, and you know, then you eventually go back to Perivale, and that was really good. Very like a lot of people draw parallels from the Doctor and Ace to the Doctor and Rose. You know, she was from sort of like a working class background and all that, and I loved that. It was really good. It was a shame actually they didn't pop back more. It would be nice to see that sort of visiting Perivale and going back off and thing, but yeah, Ace was great. I really liked Ace.
Have we had any more comments before we
Jenny Bluebox99 says there is a YouTube video clip of the Sylvester McCoy performing the Pandorica speech, and it's so good. He's brilliant.
Yeah,
you see that?
A long time ago.
I have not seen it. I'm going to go and look for that as soon as I finish this. I'm going to get run over as I cross the road.
His R's and
What was your favourite thing about Sylvester McCoy? What made him popular? Oh, sorry. We're filming in 3D.
About McCoy, my favourite thing. I really like the darkness he had. I think that's kind of what a lot of people liked about him. He was a bit more, because Colin Baker really wanted to get that darkness in, but it came across quite scary. It was like, alright, like especially in Twin Dilemma, he's got all those brooding moments. But like he was the first sort of, he really had really dark moments. I feel like there was sort of connotations of the bigger, which Andrew Carmel was trying to integrate. Didn't really get to see the light of day. But yeah, I like that darkness about him. That was what I really liked.
So were you a fan of
Sylvester McCoy?
Yeah, be honest.
Okay, well, I mean,
be honest.
You know, I watched a lot. I mean, I grew up with Tom Baker, fantastic. And the one Doctor I didn't see that much of was actually Peter Davison. You know, I saw bits and pieces of his. I saw
Cricket Jumper and a bit of Celery. There you go. You've seen him move on.
And that was really because, you know, as a young teenager at school, I just never actually. I was doing homework or whatever. You know, I just never got to see it. Colin Baker, I saw bits and pieces of until the Trial of the Time Lord. But yeah, no, for me, Sylvester McCoy reinvigorated my fandom for Doctor Who.
I liked how he, I mentioned this to Luke earlier on, how when Sylvester McCoy found his feet,
Yeah.
and he could just suddenly, how he talked, he would sort of like that, and this, and then, but then he did almost like the Hannibal Lecter style. I've actually sort of done this big pompous speech, and now I'm going to finish it with one line. And I'm going to say it softly.
Yeah, his delivery was really good.
And just how he did stuff like that, and that carried on through the Big Finish audio stuff. I really liked him when they had those moments where he could just be, I was listening to the Fearmonger, casting mine back to that one of the Big Finish. Well, on the bits where they're talking about, the butterfly. Do you want to be the butterfly on the thing? And so, she goes, no, it doesn't make a difference. She goes, they just tell the butterflies that to make them feel happy. And I just thought how he delivers that line is just such a wonderful line. And, Fearmonger is it was my introduction to Big Finish.
It was one of the first ones, wasn't it?
It was
really
absolutely
good.
one of
It's
the
still
first
to this
ones.
day,
And Jacqueline Pierce.
Of which the first 50 are now on like $2.99
they're
download.
ridiculously cheap, aren't they?
Yeah. So if you haven't actually tried Big Finish, the first 50 ever Big Finishes are at £2.99 permanent special offer for download price, or $4.99 if you want the CD.
Oh, what, are they staying that cheap forever now?
For those top, just the first 50.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really
I don't think you can say fairer than that.
No, I don't think
You
you
can
can.
say Pirate Bay, but you can say fairer than that. Right, shall we talk about, we got to review an episode, and this is the episode we're going to review today, which, you read the tweet, if you've read Luke's tweets, the spoil's already been done. We're going to talk, we're going to talk, well, I don't know, were we?
No, it doesn't
We're
matter.
going to talk about Remembrance of the Daleks. Now,
Which I saw at the BFI
you did?
last weekend.
Yes. I watched it
Or
recently.
2 weekends
actually.
ago, I think.
I've watched it fairly recently, which remembers a good cycle.
I watched this for the first time in about 20, since it's first done, and I watched it this weekend, and I love it. I can't believe.
Do you remember
so good.
watching it at the time?
I remember bits.
Because I do. I really remember
Yeah.
watching it at the time, and
Exciting.
well, I mean, for a start, I mean, the opening credits of Sylvester McCoy, I always find the most exciting out of all
where
the
he
80s.
where he does the smile.
But no, just the music as well. I just think the electronic score.
Yeah. And it had the pre-credits
theme tune.
leading into that for the first time as well.
And then,
It
of course,
had
the first time you had the spaceship, so it's like, oh, it's all very sort of V kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But to me, for its time, I thought for a BBC sci-fi production, the special effects were fantastic.
Yeah.
When you actually have shots of the spaceship coming, the Dalek spaceship, and then they actually obviously built the landing parts. It just looked fantastic. I thought, oh my god, wow, some real proper special effects.
Yeah.
So I remember at the time being so excited.
Yeah.
And of course, 1963, and Cole Hills,
It
because
was
at
the
that
25th anniversary at the time, wasn't it?
it was 25th anniversary. Quite appropriate, I suppose. Now it's 50 years. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's weird.
And
The Blue Box 99 has mentioned. They've brought up the obvious thing. By the way, a name I can't pronounce.
Jitesh Vora.
Jitesh Vora, sorry, 86.
Jitesh Vora, 86.
She says it's a great story, but however, the Blue Box 99 has commented the Dalek going up the stairs. The end of part 1.
Yeah. Where all Doctor Who fans in 2005 were going, when all the press were going, Daleks can fly now.
We were like,
all Doctor Who fans were going, Remembrance of the Daleks. And, because you had Davros fly as well back in Revelation. He was the first to actually fly. He hovered a bit, didn't he, in Revelation of the Daleks with Colin Baker.
Yeah.
So that was quite a... But then you had the Daleks.
You had the Daleks going up the stairs. Because when Davros flies, it's a bit, you expect like wacky racers and things to come out, sort of back wings to sort of come out. But when the Doctor... Now, I was listening to the special features of the DVD, and the guy actually says, the reveal at the end of episode 1 in a usual Dalek story is the revealing of the Daleks. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to introduce a Dalek halfway through. So that's why you get sort of...
straight into it, aren't they? In the junkyard, you see
Absolutely.
that Dalek.
Well, the thing is, there's no point.
But
in
his cliffhanger...
Story's called Remembrance of the Daleks anyway. I never get that
going
anyway.
up the stairs,
Yeah. No, it's a great cliffhanger because it does introduce something new.
It's like,
Although it does take a long time to go upstairs.
Yes, and he does fall over quite a lot.
The doctor is banging on the door for a long time.
Yeah.
but
before
who's
the door's
locked him in?
open.
Who's locked him in?
Oh yeah, well,
Mr.
Michael
Bronson.
Strange Hill, Mr. Bronson.
Mr. Bronson is apparently who has played Hitler 5 times.
Wow.
Seriously, including in an Indiana Jones.
Well, I mean, he's a regular
Yeah, he's a
Doctor
regular
Who.
Doctor Who, yeah.
He's appeared several times
Yes. Yeah.
in all as different characters. But
to me, he'll always be Mr. Bronson and Admiral Ossett. You know, you fool! You came out of hyperspace too quickly and caused the Battle of Hoth to be, you know, not as good as it could be. You know.
he did.
But that's another
He
story.
did make a rookie mistake.
And then, you know what, he paid for it with his life. Anyway, back to Remembrance of the Daleks. Fascists and racists and, oh my, you know, what did we think about that sort of bit of the story?
You mean the Dalek eugenics?
Well, I was more thinking about the humanity of Ace coming up, actually seeing a no-coloured sign,
Oh, okay.
which was a wonderful bit.
Yeah.
You know what, but what did she do? She just put the sign back. You know, what they wanted her to do was,
Well, she
was
takes
tear
out
it up.
and she goes to talk to the is it the mother or whoever
Yeah.
owns that house. She goes
Yeah.
to talk to him and she went, never mind, and then she goes out.
Apparently what they actually wanted her to do was angrily tear it up.
God, wow, yeah.
You know, so I wish they'd done that. And you know what, to this day apparently they still regret
Right.
that they didn't do that. You know, so I think it was quite, you know, quite brave to actually put something in that and then to talk about, you know, the fascists. Sort of, you know, I was put in jail during the war for my beliefs. It's like, you know what, good. And then you have the little girl. Are we going to reveal spoilers if we reveal who the little girl is?
No, I mean, look, we have to assume that people have
You've seen it, and if you
No, no.
haven't, we're about to
Something
ruin it
25
for you.
years late.
Yeah.
The actress, the little girl, is brilliant.
She's great.
She's so good.
terrifying from the first moment.
Yeah.
So there's a doctor out
Yeah,
again.
she's really good. It's very sort of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. But you
singing.
you really believe that the Dalek, was it the battle computer?
Yeah,
It is. You think it's Davros. And John Leeson, who voices it, it's done like K9 has voiced this thing like it's sounding like Davros.
And you want it to be Davros who turns around.
Yeah.
Little girl on the crash. In the
Yeah,
motorcycle
yeah.
helmet.
Yeah.
Even sort of when she tries to take it off, it judders.
Yeah, even,
It's on the string.
Even Ratcliffe, the sort of fascist sort of guy, is a bit like, oh, confused.
Yeah.
Like, never mind the fact that he's always been
sort of
side
side
on the girl, but never gone.
Looking up.
Take a
Yeah, so
peek.
they've never sort of stretched over. I think that was a problem with revealing that it was Davros as the Imperial Dalek because when they released it in the Davros collection, you know, you kind of ruined the surprise of the fact that, you know, it is Davros.
But there's still a trick in there, a treat in there. That
Yeah.
you think, okay, it's the battle computer, so if you haven't seen it for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we've ruined
No,
another surprise for
we've
you.
ruined the double surprise. With the
Sorry,
double
guys.
Sorry about that.
But so, what was your favourite part?
My favourite part? I think it's, I don't know,
Unlimited rice pudding.
Limited rice
Limited
pudding.
rice
It's a
pudding.
great
Yeah.
speech from McCoy.
it is a great speech.
It's actually just a good, well-rounded
You know what? I
episode.
actually just like just those really simple scenes of the Seventh Doctor going to the local cafe and just remembering being,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
you know, in that area
Yeah.
as William Hartnell.
Yeah, you're imagining it throughout, aren't you? You can just see Hartnell and Susan sat in that cafe. and
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, you just want to see that.
Yeah, no, it's
exciting.
a great scene, and it's like he remembers the guy who runs the cafe, but he obviously doesn't recognise the Doctor because
Yeah.
it's a different face. But it's just lovely. It's really really nice. And
Just a few comments that people have also put their favourite moments in Ace with the baseball bat.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Beating up its supercharged baseball
Yeah,
bats
that's great.
supercharged by the hand of Omega
Being up a dog.
and beating up sort of, you know, Daleks. That was sort of, you know, and Kai, again, once again, I love your name, love you. Don't know if you're male or female, I'm actually married, but you know, anyway, love you. They've actually brought up that Big Finish releasing a series of sequels to the characters of Chunky, the soldier,
there's
the
a
captain.
spin-off, isn't there?
There's a
Countermeasures.
spin-off. Yeah,
There's done two
Countermeasures.
series of it. Yeah.
Big Finish are doing it, and they've got all the original.
Yeah, I really
original
want to
ones
listen to
back.
that because that's great. Because that always confused me as well. Because like you had this brand new sort of organisation. It was like, well, where's UNIT? Like even the Doctor.
Well, I think
dropped Brigadier, isn't
I
he?
kind of think that they're establishing that this was a pre-unit.
No, pre-unit. It was
Oh,
unit.
yeah, of
pretty
course,
unit.
yes, it's the 60s.
Unit
Yeah,
aren't
it's
they?
early
beta
60s. This is
unit.
early
Yeah,
60s.
yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like, did this,
Units in beta.
because of Remembrance of the Daleks, is that's almost one of the reasons why Unit is created?
Yeah.
Because, you have this group
Never
of
thought
soldiers.
of that. That's great, to think of this whole circle. And to think the Doctor kind of starts it as well by getting them all together and involved in aliens, and that's great.
Did they have the scientific advisor?
Yeah, she's the original Doctor, isn't she? Like, that's great.
Did anybody sort of, pick up on her appearance, the sort of the scientific advisor? How she looked was exactly like Susan's teacher.
Oh, what, Barbara?
Yeah.
She's very
She
much
looked
like
exactly.
Barbara.
Did anybody else think that this was Barbara?
Yeah, it's got
It was
that.
like, oh my god,
sort of-
they're bringing Barbara back straight
Yeah.
away, and it's like, but no, it was such a good, lovely little nod. It was full of lovely little continuity nods.
School and French Revolution being sat on the desk, and
It could have got like it looks sort of, completely different.
Yeah.
It
doesn't. Yeah, that's the only thing. Like the junkyard doesn't look like the junkyard at all, apart from the gates.
And the bit with the French Revolution book as well. It's got a dust jacket.
It doesn't even look like a junkyard as it looked like in Attack of the Cybermen.
Yeah, which that really, like, as a fan, you want that continuity in it. It's just gone from although the 60s to the 80s, you can see it. Maybe it changed. Or you got
And Ratcliffe's
location.
Ratcliffe's yard seems to look remarkably exactly the same. That's Trotter's yard.
Just shot from a different angle.
absolutely,
We're going to keep these angles low.
Yeah, totally.
But I think, sort of, out of all of that 25th anniversary year, that I've still got people are going to hate me for this. I also like Silver Nemesis.
Well, Silver Nemesis was meant to be the story.
Yeah, Silver Nemesis was bonkers.
Yeah,
to be honest, it was completely bonkers.
And that one's got Nazis in it, and it's got all the.
And real
I think Jonathan
weird,
Nathan Turner
very weird
just couldn't
timey
get
wimey
away
stuff.
from this. Sort of, he loves it. He loves his race.
Yeah, no, I mean, Silver Nemesis was the official 25th anniversary episode.
Yeah. I feel like Remembrance was more. I feel like
But
if
Remembrance felt
they
more.
put as much celebration into Remembrance as because Remembrance had all these subtle sort of nice enjoyments. Whether Silver Nemesis was, it's our anniversary. It felt really like a Silent Meadow, shiny now. And if they put that more into Remembrance, I feel like that would have been more of a all well-rounded anniversary.
Oh
story.
God, that's what Stephen Moffat's thinking. Oh God, right, that's it now. You just hit the nail on the head.
He's going to do Silver Nemesis.
He's not going to do Silver Nemesis because we want him to do Silver Nemesis. He's going to do the Remembrance. Oh,
yeah.
Which, you know what? I remember people complaining about Remembrance of the Daleks. I remember reading in a comic that sort of apparently the novelisation of Remembrance of the Daleks is a lot bloodier than the thing, and they're talking about decapitated soldiers.
The novelisation,
apparently.
Oh, right, because it was written by Bender on it, wasn't it? Same thing.
I've never read it, but apparently it was, and so they were saying the BBC would never get away with this. And you know what? This was 25. People were still complaining about it back then, and then now those people who are complaining are actually worshipping it. So you know what? You can't make up your mind. Some people, just like it. Just admit that you like it. Don't be afraid.
I just saw as well Robert Thomas and Post Ghost 69 wrote as well about the special weapon Dalek. Which is like, that was the most exciting.
Well, they had the special weapon Dalek. They had a replica special weapons Dalek at the BFI screen.
Oh, right.
For people to take their pictures with. And
how was he? I like that he was really grimy.
He's really grimy, I know.
He was in Asylum as well, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
Not that we saw any of those old Daleks on screen, but apparently he was in there somewhere.
I saw him in there.
I think I do see him. I think he is the one.
I think he's maybe in a long shot, maybe. I can't.
Well, he's a
remember
better shot than his colleagues, because the Daleks seem to be able to miss each other from 20 feet away. A lot in Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah.
But I mean, do they have like a special unit Dalek in every shuttle that comes down? Is he just there, sort of, working at the back with a pack of cards, flicking through? They're going to need the
Yeah.
Am I going to need me today, or am I going to light another cigarette?
But it was a great idea, because it's like, well, if the Daleks are at war with each other, the idea that they would have to come up with a new Dalek that is powerful enough to get past the regular Dalek shield.
Yeah, totally.
It's great. And of course, he just looks brilliant, but he doesn't have an eye stalk, does he?
He doesn't need. Hey, when you've got a gun like that, you don't need an eye stalk. They just point you. You're all going to be collateral damage if you're sort of in front of it. You don't need an eye stalk.
No, I love the special weapons Dalek. I think back then as well, you really felt like, weirdly, like the special weapons Dalek, you really felt like that was like a tank. Like, especially in Remembrance, because a lot of it's on cobbles, so you've got all these Daleks who are sort of like shaking around, which is very disappointing, but the special weapons looks like a tank. Whereas like the new series ones, you totally believe if you went up to it and knocked it, it would dun 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 dun. But back then, they didn't really have that feel, so when the special weapons came along, you were like, oh, this is a
there's plenty of skips. You're in sort of like the junkyard. You know, there'll be a couple of doors. You know, put the doors down on the floor, and let's sort of, you know, not have wobbly Daleks. You know, they weren't even in long shot. You know, these were close-ups. 2 seconds it would have taken you to put a thing down. No, they didn't think, because you know they were spending all their budget money on blowing up Daleks. You know, blowing up Daleks in weird and wonderful ways with mega cannons and sort of rocket launchers, which stretched credibility slightly because you know Ace's eyebrows didn't even get singed. You know, why does it happen? It's like I'm firing it across the room and said, "Oh, I'm perfectly okay." My French black ponytail.
She's got Nitro 9 experience.
Now, of course, we also then have hints of the manipulative Doctor, in that he kind of knows what's going on, but he's not telling anybody else. Or actually, what is happening with the Daleks is something he's actually all arranged. You know, he actually wanted them to come and pick up the hand. Remember, this has all been his plan the whole time.
Sneaky, manipulative boy.
And then then you have this sort of breaking the fourth wall where he says, "I think I may have miscalculated." Which is a cliffhanger as well itself.
I think we have to talk briefly about the shuttle coming down. You know, I loved the wire. The little wire that sort of is in there. You know, if you get a chance, sort of, you know, enjoy the wire. You know, guest starring the wire as itself. You know, that was one. But I couldn't work out where Force Perspective began and ended. Did they actually build a shuttle?
There was a massive one, wasn't there?
They had the bottom of the shuttle.
And because they come out of it, so there is a...
But I was wondering where, you know, for in those long shots, did they actually just stick a top on it?
I think anything low angle might be, I can't remember, it's about a week ago, but I think low angle must be genuine having it there because they had the bottom of it. But.
And when they landed, sort of, you know, that's the model that just put in front of the
camera
there. So, you know, the magic of television. Right, do we need to... We were running late, but I know that sort of people have probably got tea to put on. So I'm just going to try and get some last comments. Get some comments in about your favourite Doctor Who.
Favourite 7th Doctor stories. Let's have some more 7th Doctor stories.
We want anecdotes. We're asking for your anecdotes. You know, don't forget to subscribe and follow his Twitter while you're doing it. Luke Spillane, not Luke Spillane, as I spelled it earlier on Twitter, and I apologise. Also click my show as well, Bloody Mary Show. I just had to put a plug in there. Don't forget Elisar's show, very adult, threesome, and it's wonderful. Okay, right, get those anecdotes tweeting in right now. I'm looking at the screen. If I don't see anything, I'm going to sing. Get those tweets in because me.
So, your all-time favourite 7th Doctor story?
Oh, that's hard. I think for me, like, it's Remembrance, but then Curse of Fenric is so good. Curse of Fenric is like unlike anything else.
I remember watching that at the time as well, and just thinking, wow, this is amazing. I was recording it off the TV, and it was just like, it was a treasured video for like ages.
It's like a BBC drama. It's like, but like just using the it's so good. And especially the special edition, there's a special edit, which is now on DVD, which is really great. It's like a movie-length version of it, and it's all this today. Really, really good. So, Curse of Fenric Remembrance.
Okay, we've got a hands up for Ghostlight.
Yeah, who's that from?
That's the person whose name I could not pronounce the first time.
Jitesh Vora. Jitesh, hello Jitesh.
Jitesh, hey, you know, fun's
watching from Harrow, I think.
Hello, and somebody's also got just put a thumbs up for Blue Box 99 as mentioned David Banks as a cyber leader. Now I have. Has anybody else got the David Banks book?
On the Cybermen.
On the Cybermen.
I've read it and picked
it up. He talks about I had it when I was much younger.
Isn't it?
He does a lot of information, and he successfully almost works out the evolution of the Cybermen, because he says the Cybermen of the future, and they look a bit like Rambo. However, they also look like the new Cybermen. They're clunky and they're much more muscular. And you know what? So I think, you know, David Banks, cyber leader. You know, I think the BBC owes you a bit of money. I really think they do. They just robbed you. There you go. I'm going to say it. They robbed you, David.
Well, I mean, the thing is, a Cyberman's timeline just doesn't make sense if you were to just try and work it out. because they're not time travelers like the Daleks. Which again doesn't really make sense their timeline anyway, because the Daleks' timeline and the Doctor's timeline, no matter wherever they are in any time zone ever or in the galaxy, just seem to be wandering in the same direction all the time.
They mention the Time War and it's fine. It's all wibbly wobbly. It's fine. Yeah.
But that's the thing about Doctor Who. You just don't try and make sense of it.
Yeah.
Blue Box has said survival is pretty
survival
good.
is superb. I think.
Survival.
So a bit odd in parts. I think I know which parts you're talking about.
I think survival is great. I think it's.
I can smell colours. I always remember that line from
So what's your favourite Seventh Doctor, Darren?
you know what? I can't give you an episode. I can't. I honestly can't.
I know I don't have two. Surely you've got at least three. Top three.
You know, I like how Big Finish took his character. You know, Nicholas Parsons as a vicar will always have a special place in my heart. The Candyman, I'm sorry, Happiness Patrol with Fifi. You know, I was at that age where I enjoyed a bit of camp. You know, still do to this day. Silver Nemesis. Apart from that, who did this to you? Social workers. It was like, oh please. You know what? So minus points for social workers, extra points for Courtney Pine, and the fact that the Doctor had rebuilt her boombox and it can now project holograms. You know, all these things were wonderful. But you know what? Having not seen this for 20 odd years, Remembrance and Daleks, because it was one of the times when Sylvester makes his point and then does another line really slowly and says, I've defeated you. No longer serve any purpose.
Well, let's talk about the defeating of the Daleks, because he destroyed Skaro essentially.
Double chance.
Yeah. But let's face, let's have to remember these aren't just Daleks who live in Skaro. They're the Thals, the peace-loving Thals who've been persecuted. Who've been persecuted by the Daleks.
I've never even thought of that.
It's like, well, hang on a second.
It's the Eevee, he's just wiped out.
Oh please, if you want to get into that sort of thing, well, you know what? So there's some hoity-toity Time Lords up there in Gallifrey. What about the rest of everyone in Gallifrey who's dead? You know, oh no, you don't give a tinker's.
But we have to assume that the Daleks have kind of left Skaro to conquering the universe, so they're everywhere. But the Thals, they only live on Skaro.
Yeah.
So they've just basically been wiped out by the
All
Doctor
Thals.
as part of his
you know,
games with the Daleks.
The only Thals that were left were sort of, in zoos. You know, there was 4 on a limited breeding program.
But this is 1963 Earth time, and in the Daleks, when William Hartnell's Doctor first meets him, that's way in the future. So
Timey wimey wibbly wobbly. That's all I can say.
All Thals.
Yeah. Let's
Thals.
spare a moment for the Thals.
Save the Thals.
For everybody who ever died in early Doctor Who, and for Barry's 12-minute long excellent. I'm sure it was excellent, Barry. We're going to put it up as a separate bonus thing for you. You know, any other tweets?
Well, what was your favourite story?
My favourite story. Okay, I'm probably going to say.
Dying to get that out.
I'm probably going to say Remembrance of the Daleks. It is actually my favourite. I just think it's. It's very nostalgic. I think. For me. I just love it. It's just great fun, and it's one of those stories I think you can watch over again. I did love all the little references in it, and you even had Davros come back as the Emperor Dalek, and the Emperor Dalek was designed as the 1960s cartoon comic strip Dalek
with the dome,
with the dome head, which was great. It was another nod to the 60s, but not even to the TV show. It was a nod to a comic strip.
Mediums,
Terry Nation's Dalek Mania annual 1967 or whatever it was. So it's great. I think Ghostlight. I put Ghostlight there as well. Because it is weird, it is strange, it doesn't quite make sense, but
it gets away with it.
But you get away with it. It's like you actually enjoy that.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can just then watch it over again and still try and make your own interpretation. And what's really happening. It's a lot of fun. It's really weird.
Okay, Kai, by the way, you are the gift that keeps on giving tonight. Kai says that Fenrick's their favourite story. Favourite is because Fenrick's their favourite one-off villain because he is awesome. You're having no complaints here. However, Kai also points out that according to Big Finish, the Thals had moved to their new planet, New Davius, before before Scarra.
Oh,
was
ret-
it? Oh,
retconning. See, this is retconning though, isn't it?
I think retconning is fine. The Farls lived to see another day with their.
And they became the cyborg.
Yes.
They left Scarra and moved to Telos. Or
So, but I mean, we're going to have to wrap up soon. But you know, did the Doctor start the Time War right there and then at the end?
Well, I think it starts in Genesis.
It starts in Genesis.
The thing is, I think
start.
that the theory of the Time War is that it's going on. I think that's the great thing. That it is going on throughout the whole of classic Doctor Who. You know, Genesis is where it starts.
Well,
and it's going on in the background.
Again, it's a very interesting. It's a very interesting timeline because you kind of have to assume that the first Doctor's first meeting the Daleks, up until the third Doctor's final confrontation with the Daleks, is one timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so you've got this timeline here, this sort of, and then the Doctor goes back right to the start.
Yeah.
And changes the dynamic with Davros and the creation of the Daleks. Now they know who he is, they know who Time Lord. So what happens to the first and third Doctor's Dalek timeline is kind of, well, it's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of wiped out, essentially, because now Davros takes the Daleks in a completely different. And then and which is why I always kind of think, well, what really happened to Susan? Because now Susan's almost stuck in an alternative timeline, which the Doctor is not part of anymore. So she probably is still out there somewhere, but they probably can never be reunited because she's essentially in a parallel universe.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, we recovered our moment of silence after the Falls, so let's now have it for Susan. Susan, you weren't Clara, were you? No, everyone thought you were, but you weren't.
And of course, when they bring back Davros for Stubborn Earth, it sort of reinforces that whole thing that Davros versus the Time Lords is kind of the Time War, isn't it?
This is true. I'm looking at a tweet from
Kath Ruffles.
Yeah. It says, "Well done for
keeping going through the difficulties. You should all get a special T-shirt."
Well, only I get a T-shirt, so and even now I have to take this back to Soho Square tomorrow and drop it off. But it is a lovely T-shirt. So tweet Talking Who to try and persuade the guy to actually make some more. And there could be, I'm thinking, it's an additional bonus for raising money for the Indiegogo campaign. Now, we have to talk about this.
Well, maybe it could be special.
Maybe it could be. Maybe one person could win a special T-shirt chosen at random. But yes, don't forget crowdfunding. What was that?
Indiegogo.com/who's changing.
He is. Okay, we should really begin to start wrapping this up, guys. Cameron will be, it will be a lot uglier the next time it's on because, Luke's handsome and you know what? I'm not bad for 40. Admit it. Everyone just hates me. And so Elisar will be back, but I just want to thank Luke who has come especially.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
thanks
very
for
much.
having me. I very much enjoyed it.
Well, I hope you can come again once we fixed our technical issues and
always happy.
Maybe get a new microphone.
Yes, because as somebody did point out, it didn't work. And yes, it is a prop. And I'm just broken the prop.
We'll get a new microphone.
Yes. So, but you know what? So, thank you for sticking us with the technical difficulties that we've had tonight.
I have actually recorded it on a separate source, so hopefully, if that works, okay, I could actually upload another copy.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Prada. Guys, we want to thank everyone for watching. Elisar, have you got any special thanks that you need to...
No, just thanks for watching. Keep tuned to @Talking Who for updates on the next episode, when that will be. As you know, during the non-broadcast months, we're kind of... Fallow, which not as regular as usual, but, we try and do one a month if we can. So it's your August edition, so there will be a September edition.
If you want us back, tweet us, because we need your votes. Do you remember when Owen was on X Factor and made that little face? Do that, saying if you want Luke back, we'll have to pay him next time. He doesn't know that the check we're paying him this week will bounce.
Always happy to come and talk about Doctor Who.
Isn't it? Just such a dirty, filthy pleasure. Guys, I want to thank everyone tonight and bye. Nice seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.